We cannot thank our nursing staff at Creighton enough. They have gone above and beyond. I always say when I committed to play at Creighton, I told Coach Boots, she was like, "What are you thinking for your major?" And I told her nursing, and she was like, "Oh, that's gonna be really hard, you know." And I kind of was like, "I don't okay." I had no idea what all that entailed, and I didn't know how lucky I was to be able to go to Creighton and do both, because that's not a thing. I really didn't know that.
Welcome into From the Mall, a podcast where we share stories from the Creighton community that showcase achievements and impact. I'm your host, John Niatawa. On today's episode, we're joined by two former Creighton volleyball student athletes, Norah Sis and Kendra Waite. From leading the Blue Jays in high-stakes matches to now suiting up as professional athletes, their journey is both inspiring and deeply grounded in passion for the sport and for serving others. We talk about what it's like to go from being team leaders in college to rookies in a pro league, how they balance nursing school with their volleyball careers, and why Creighton's support system made all the difference. You'll hear some of their favorite memories, biggest life lessons, and what it means to carry forward two dreams at once. And here's a fun update. Since we recorded this conversation, Norah's professional team, the Orlando Valkyries, they went on to win the Pro Volleyball Federation Championship. She capped off her rookie season with a title. Not a bad start. Hello, everyone. Excited to welcome Norah Sis and Kendra Waite to the podcast. Norah and Kendra, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
It's good to see you both. Here's what I want to start with, because this is the thing that I thought was a little bit, I don't know if it's weird, if that's the right word to describe it, but you guys were both, you went from playing in such a competitive environment at Creighton, and you're on the court for every point. And it's intense, and the season ends in the heartbreaking way. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're professionals now. And it's a little bit different role. How do you do that? How is that adjustment been?
Yeah, I think it's been fun. I was just telling someone the other day that it's been really fun to be the young one again. It's been a couple of years since, we've been freshmen, obviously. So going from a place of being senior, being leader, to now going to being, I'm the youngest on my team by a whole year, I think. So just being able to learn from all the older players who have had so much experience and are so talented and such good leaders has been a cool role shift, I think. Obviously very humbling, just this league and everyone in the professional world is so talented. So it's been just a really cool role shift. And yeah, I've been having so much fun.
Yeah, same. I would kind of echo that. It's just been a lot of fun. And for me, it's a little bit different, still being in Omaha, where again, you still have a lot of the connections and being around people. But again, it's just a whole new experience, and to be able to learn so much. I have another setter on my team who's I won't say how many years, but quite a few years older than me. And so being able to learn underneath her and just pick at the knowledge that she has, it's been really fun.
I'm a little bit surprised to hear it's fun. Did you have to did you know that it was going to be fun? Was that the expectation? You both went into this thinking, because a competitor wants to play, right?
Yes, I'll say definitely that was the shift of, again, at Creighton, we kind of knew our role, had been in it for a few years. And so I knew coming into this new experience, it was going to be a battle. There was nothing guaranteed. And I kind of came in knowing there was two great setters on the team. And I was with the expectation of this is going to be a learning. This is going to be a year to kind of sit back, grow the game. Again, compete and work my butt off to try to get onto the court and earn playing time. Because again, we are competitors and everybody wants to be on that court playing and wants to be a starter. But at the same time, learning, just taking it, knowing that there's so much more information out there that I haven't learned. So kind of using that as kind of my motivation for this season.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also something that Coach Booth always told us, she would always say, you play sports, you don't work sports, kind of trying to get us to loosen up and well, now we are working sports. So it is a little bit different. And I think that definitely was took a little bit to get used to, because it kind of is your whole life, and it was a little bit easier to have more balance when we were doing even though it was like we were busier, it was easier to just like be able to focus on volleyball and school and have, all these relationships, other things. Like there was so much going on. Now it's like my whole day is wrapped around volleyball. So it definitely is like um it's a very different world, I think. But my coaches here are kind of like encouraging me, like, this is your job. Like, you get to watch more film. You get to do this. You get to spend your extra time in the weight room, stretching, recovering, like all these things. So it's been like weird to think of it as a job and like hard at some points, but it's such a gift, and it's like just looking at it through a different lens, I guess now.
Yeah, I like what you said, it being a gift, because maybe it's a different perspective for professional volleyball players, especially who grew up in the U.S. I mean, when you guys both were in middle school or high school, this wasn't an option. This league hadn't been formed yet. So the fact that it's here, I don't know. Can I say, is it a dream? Is it a dream? Was it I mean, a lot of people aspire to be professionals. Did you both aspire to be professionals? I'll start with you, Kendra. Did you aspire to be a professional volleyball player?
Honestly, when my option was to go overseas or not play professional, I didn't really think professional sports was going to be in my future. I was more going to be like, I like being at home. I didn't see myself going overseas. And so I really thought it was going to be college and then move on to the workforce. But then again, as professional sports in the US started to develop, and now professional volleyball was an option, then 100% I was like, I want to do this. So again, in college, that's kind of where that came. And also just, again, the love of the sport. Like, I say that I didn't really want to go overseas. I think now with how our senior season went and how much I just loved the sport and like loved the girls, I was like, I might have potentially gone overseas. But again, with this opportunity, like, my heart is here. I love being able for family to come to games and seeing everybody still. So like, again, it was a great opportunity.
Same. I would say, like, growing up, when I was asked the question what I wanted to do when I was older, I never would I have said volleyball. I didn't even think that was like, I mean, it wasn't an option at that point. And same with Kendra. Like, I'm such a homebody. I could never see myself going and living in a different country for, 9 months out of the year. So I wouldn't say that this was like a dream until maybe 1 or 2 years ago, when everything kind of started coming together and this actually became a reality. That's when I would say this dream started.
And you're still in school. How are you balancing the challenges of going to school and doing some work as well?
Yeah, it's been awesome. We like cannot thank our nursing staff at Creighton enough. Like, they have gone above and beyond. I always say, like, when I committed to play at Creighton, I told Coach Boots, she was like, "What are you thinking, like, for your major?" And I told her nursing, and she was like, "Oh, that's gonna be really hard, you know." And I kind of was like, okay. Like, I had no idea what all that entailed. And I didn't know how, like, lucky I was to be able to go to Creighton and do both, because that's not a thing. I really didn't know that. So I kind of like grew into understanding how big of a deal that was and how awesome it was that they're letting us do that. Both the nursing staff and our coaches, like, from both ends, it was such a big deal, and just they made it such a great experience. And yeah, for us to be continuing this and just carrying out 2 dreams at once, it's really crazy, and we're super duper blessed that they are allowing us to do that, and they're not just saying you can only have one, you have to pick. So that's been awesome.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation with like our nursing advisor as this was kind of all like coming, and we were like talking about our plan. Be like, hey, like, we want to play professional. Like, what would this look like? Would this be possible? And they said, like, as nursing faculty, we want you to go pursue your other dreams. We still want you to be a nurse, and we want to support you in any way he can. We still want you to go pursue your other dreams. And I thought that was really, really cool of them to do.
Did you know, Kendra, what you were getting into? As Norah said, she kind of like figured it out that it was maybe a bit challenging. Did you know it?
Nursing school is challenging. And I knew not a lot of colleges allowed you to do both because of the time commitment and the challenges that came with it. Uh, but I think it was one of those I was like, if Creighton is willing, like, okay for me to do it, that's like, I want to go pursue it. Uh, and I definitely say it's not without its challenges. I've talked to many Creighton nursing alumni who are like, nursing school is so hard. Like, how do you do it? And again, it's the support, like, through everybody from teammates, coaches, that faculty, staff, like everybody just willing to work so well with each other. I think made this a lot easier process.
How is it working? Right? Are you guys just on Zoom calls with faculty, with classmates?
Yes, we're doing like this whole semester we've done a Zoom call every couple of weeks just to like get the content, catch up with our professors. But a lot of it we have been able to like kind of do at our own pace. They've been super good at, telling us what we need to do and then trusting us that we're gonna get it done on time. So this semester was kind of like a little bit more laid back, but over the summer is when we get to finish like the clinical aspect of it. We get to go and do 6 weeks of preceptorship, which is where we basically work 3 shifts alongside a nurse, 3 shifts a week for 6 weeks. So that'll be like very real life, like that's what we would do as real nurses. So we're super excited for that. I know, at least for me, like I am absolutely loving it here, but I am missing like the nursing part of it. So I'm super excited to go back home and finish that and just, yeah, be in that environment again and be able to serve people. I love what a nurse does.
With that, I think this summer is going to be really fun because this is the first time we're really going to have school without like the full college volleyball like commitments that go along with it. So like I'm so excited to really be able to like dive headfirst, like fully just immerse myself in that nursing aspect of it. You kind of see what the future is going to look like.
I feel like Coach Booth made a mention of this during the season at one point, and I don't know if it was you too, Kendra, where like you had a 12-hour shift like the night before a game or maybe the night after. I can't remember what was it before Nebraska where you guys were like up late
Was it
and then
was it before or after Nebraska?
after Nebraska maybe?
So we were supposed to have the clinical the day we played at Nebraska. So we got out of that clinical day. But so then whatever, we played at Nebraska, we got back at like midnight, 12:30, didn't go to bed until like 1, 2 a.m. and then had to be at the hospital at 6 a.m. the next morning. And we worked like a 10-hour shift that day. I think we got out like around 3-ish. So yeah, that was an interesting day for sure at the hospital.
Um, well, I don't know. What kind of advice do you give either your teammates or maybe even somebody who's aspiring to do what you're doing to balance the responsibilities of being a student athlete with also being a student? I mean, yes, Creighton is as you said, Kendra, Creighton is really good about encouraging students to pursue their passions, not just, especially in student athletes, not just on the field, but off it too. But it's challenging. What kind of advice would you give to people who might want to follow in your footsteps?
I would say, honestly, like one of the biggest aspects that has been like the most helpful, I would say, is having Kendra. I think that, and obviously not everyone gets this luxury, but like surrounding yourself with people that like love what you do as much as you. I think that like we were grinding it out together, so it made it that much more enjoyable. I know that Kendra wants to give her all to both volleyball and nursing, so that was always encouraging me and that was always holding me accountable. So I guess like, and obviously we spent like every second of every day together. We would go from class to volleyball to homework to bed to class to volleyball. Like we were always together. So not everyone has that, but I do think if you have the opportunity to like surround yourself with people that love it as much as you do, because we both will say like we got through it and we enjoyed it. It wasn't like the worst experience ever because we genuinely like really enjoyed it, and it made the grind that much easier and just like more fulfilling doing it with each other, I would say.
Yeah. I would also say like having people like around you support you, even if that's like family members or like maybe there's someone else like away from everything that you can just go and continue to like have that support system, I think is huge. Because again, like it can seem very long, it can seem very daunting. But again, also when you're in it and it's just kind of like one step at a time.
I didn't realize that you guys, I guess it makes sense, teammates, both in the College of Nursing. So you did spend a ton of time together.
Yeah.
The chemistry was obvious on the court, at least. Like, it translated. I don't think, did you guys ever, like, you ever disagree on the court? Was there ever any, like,
Probably the most disagreeing we ever did was if something went wrong, I would say that was my fault, and Kendra would say that was my fault, and then we could never do anything about it.
taking the blame? Um, well, and it was a cool moment, I know, for a lot of Creighton fans to see you guys both on the court together professionally for the first time. Now, I know it's happened since, but I think it was like, I feel like it was in February where, like, because the Creighton team was there too, right? When Norah, you guys played when Orlando played in Omaha.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that was, I think that was a cool moment, and you both played in the match too. How special was it to like see each other when you happen to play each other basically now? Because that's probably about the only time you see each other, other than your calls, like you said, the calls for school.
Yeah, super duper cool. And also, yeah, when the first time that I was back in Omaha, just how our whole team showed up and just seeing coaches and like everyone there, that was incredibly special. Yeah, I will never take that for granted. That was super duper special.
Let's pivot a little bit and go back in your memory bank. Not too far because you guys just finished your Creighton careers. But what are some of your favorite memories?
That made me think of an fun off the court memory that I'll never forget is the like bus rides back from the airport, back to campus from the airport after like a long travel weekend, and everyone is just like so delusional, so tired, and every single time someone would start singing, and then we would just all of a sudden the whole bus would be singing, and it happened so many times. But just stuff like that that I'll never forget. I also, now that I'm, away from them, I think just the fact that we got to like live with our teammates, our best friends for 4 years straight is so cool. And I'll, probably never have that again, so I think looking back at that, just like the late nights doing homework together in the living room, or just like early mornings where we're all like rolling out of bed and going to weights in the morning at 6 o'clock. Stuff like that I'll remember forever. But a few on the court memories, I would say yes, Texas from this year. Anytime, any single match in the NCAA tournament is always like just the most awesome time ever. I would say beating Minnesota our junior year to make it to the Sweet 16 was just so much fun.
I feel like there was, you didn't mention this, and maybe it isn't up there as much, but there was like your guys' senior day, your senior game, like you guys both got, it was a really cool moment to see at least you both honored at the same time. And there was a standing ovation.
Yeah, gosh, that was a very emotional day. I knew I was gonna be crying the whole time, and I warned Coach Booth, and then literally they announced me and I cried. But yeah, everything about that day was so special, just to have so many family members there, and just the whole crowd like really support it. Just like it's just like the cherry on top, like that wasn't even our last game at home, but it's just the fact that it's like celebrating us seniors, I think, was super special in itself, and just being able to play. I don't know, that game is just extra exciting. No matter who we're playing, we know that everyone's going to get on the court, everyone's going to play next to each other. It's just super good vibes, and yeah, being able to celebrate each other, because we had a big senior class. We started with a very different group than what we ended with. We ended with, what did we graduate with, 6 or 7? So it was a big group, and it was, yeah, super, super cool to do it with those people.
I thought you had a comment. Maybe it was after your last game. I can't remember. It probably was because I think it was emotional where you were talking about just how fortunate you felt to have landed at a place like Creighton. And you touched on this a little bit, but like when you were younger, looking at colleges, looking at teams, it's kind of hard to know what to look for and what might happen. And it just happened to turn out so perfectly for you. How, I mean, looking back on that, are you still as sort of amazed at the way, you know, sort of life unfolded, the way that your experience unfolded at Creighton and how it just happened to just like really, it fit you really well and made for a good and sort of obviously life-changing experience?
Yes, absolutely. I think looking back, and it's been cool to reflect on it now that I'm out of college too. And I think that looking back to however many years ago that was that I committed to Creighton, I 1000% just attribute all that to the Lord. I think that, I could have gone anywhere and I had no idea what I wanted. I was like 12. No, I wasn't 12. I don't know how old I was, but I didn't know anything. And I think, yeah, absolutely. The Lord just knew exactly where he wanted me. He knew exactly what people he wanted in my life, and he knew exactly what experiences he was going to give me. And I think, I mean, I couldn't have wrote it up any better myself. And we always talk about how cool it is that every single girl on that team from when I was a freshman to when I was a senior comes from all over the country. And it's just really, really cool how God brings all these people into our life from all over to give us exactly what he knows that we need, whether it's very hard for us, whether it's just the most exciting time of our life. It has been super cool to reflect on that, especially now that I'm out of it. But yeah, I 100% just attribute all of that to the Lord. I could not have written it up any better. I did not know what I wanted, what I needed, and what he gave me was just so, so incredibly awesome.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Did you know this? Did you come to this realization toward the end of your college career? Or like, did you recognize in the moment, like freshman year, wow, this is awesome. Oh my gosh, sophomore year, like as you're going through it, you're like, this is incredible.
I feel like, so I committed when I was a sophomore in high school. And from like my sophomore year of high school to until I got to Creighton, I feel like so many things just kept happening, and like I would hear all these awesome things about Creighton, and my parents kept telling me like, oh my gosh, Nora, you picked the perfect place. Like, this is going to be awesome. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm so excited. And, but I really didn't know what to expect. And then, yeah, freshman year, I think I was just like so in awe of everything. Like everything was so new and so awesome. And then as the years went on, I think it just kept getting sweeter, and things kept, not that it got any easier, but things just kept, I wouldn't even say things kept getting better, but I would say I realized more and more how fortunate I was to be in that position, and how fortunate I was to be surrounded by the people I was surrounded by, and be coached by the people I was coached by, and get to live close to home and have my family so close, and just do all these amazing things. I mean, we got to travel all over. We went to Europe because of volleyball. Like, who would have thought that we would get all these cool experiences just for playing a sport? And now we get to do it and like make a living off of it. It's really crazy.
Thanks for listening to this episode of From the Mall. You may have noticed, due to technical difficulties, a portion of our conversation with Kendra didn't make the episode. Our apologies for that. Join us next time for more Creighton campus news and updates from the Mall.